Hello, my friends. Welcome. Let's take a nice breath in and an enormous sigh. Keep the chest up a little bit. Welcome. My name is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge. And this is the Choosing to Thrive initiative, and I'm truly choosing to thrive. That's not based on what happens coming towards me, but how I respond to those elements. Responsibility, the ability to respond to what's happening. And so I'm choosing that path today. I have challenges. One of the challenges I'm dealing with today is I'm dealing with some significant pain issues. That's okay. It's part of what I'm faced with. And I know that this is not happening to me, but for me. It's happening for me to create the commitment to balance the pain of physical issues, emotional issues, the pain that we experience in the way that the world is working. And yet I know that this is happening in my own personal experience for me to achieve what I would consider to be my own greatness. That ability to not lament what's happening, but to transcend what's happening. Part of that transcendence is looking for ways to frame our challenges in ways that makes us feel like we're winning, and frame our challenges in ways that teach us rather than just make us go through something. And one of those ways of reframing is myth. Myth is one of the great ways that humankind has always taught itself how to face the challenges of life. I remember the great teacher Joseph Campbell being interviewed by the great Bill Moyers back in approximately 1980. He wrote the book The Power of Myth, and he had this series excuse me, on PBS. So I really encourage you to go check out that series. The Power of Myth. I think the first book he wrote was, or at least one of the early books he wrote, was The Hero of a Thousand Faces. And there's something to this. The Hero of a Thousand Faces, what he called the hero's journey that comes up again and again and again in all these stories. And all these stories, the hero's journey is about you. You are the hero. So when you are reading the Iliad, the Odyssey, when you are studying Greek or Roman mythology or mythology around the world, every one of those stories is about you understanding your life. One of the stories that he talked about in terms of modern myth was Star Wars. Star Wars has so many elements that we can learn from. And I actually, in my own personal perception, feel like when myth comes through an artist in a way that is transcendent, think about all the different science fiction movies that have come out. Only one Star Wars. Think about all the different children's movies that have come out. Wizard of Oz is unique. Harry Potter is unique. So what is it about these stories that just resonates so much in our minds? I feel that The Wizard of Oz is a perfect example. At the time that I watched it, and I really haven't watched it since, I was a child. Every year at that time on television, they would put The Wizard of Oz out, and I would watch it. And I would become afraid of it. There would be so many scary elements. Myth is sometimes frightening, just like life. So if we look at the story of The Wizard of Oz, we can see an interesting transition. First of all, we have this amazing young woman, Dorothy. One of the things I really like about The Wizard of Oz is that Dorothy is the one who is following the hero's journey. And Dorothy, although she's the center of the story, in many ways, it's the story of Toto. Toto, the dog, is the linchpin that everything revolves around. I've always been fascinated by those individuals that are the juncture where everything changes. People like Picasso, Marlon Brando, Prince. These are individuals that things changed after them. And it happens, the Beatles, Elvis Presley. So those individuals are always amazing to me. And Toto is one of those individuals. Every major happening in the whole movie, Toto is involved. Toto is the stimulus that develops this conflict with this angry woman at the beginning of the story, in which she wants Toto to be put down. Dorothy is terrified. Toto's able to get away, and she runs back home. She lives in this incredibly gray existence. The gray existence of Depression era America, Kansas. The limits in the range of perception. She meets three individuals on the way, three of the workers. She gets home. She's also meets the salesman, right? All these different people, and she gets home, and all of a sudden, the tornado arrives, and her house is swirling up into the air. She is knocked unconscious, and when she comes to, she has landed in a completely different place. This is not Kansas anymore. She lands on the witch, and she meets this incredible sea of people, different than anyone she's seen before, the Munchkins. Glinda, the good witch, comes and begins to teach her about what is. Even though Glinda doesn't understand her, or perhaps she does understand her, but Dorothy doesn't understand herself. And so she begins to teach her and tell her the means of what she needs to accomplish in order to get back home. Follow the yellow brick road. And that's what this particular conversation is about, following the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road is our path to our own authenticity. It's the path that we have to follow to get to our own Emerald City, that place that we begin to find the answers that we're searching for. She goes on the yellow brick road and has all of these crazy adventures. She meets the three individuals who become really her partners on this journey. She meets the Scarecrow. She meets the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion. Each of these elements represents some part of her personality. The Scarecrow is looking for a brain, but he's not just looking for a brain. He's not looking to just have his mind chock full of thoughts. He's looking for access to genius, access for problem solving and understanding that he doesn't currently have. One of the hidden pretexts is that he's looking for a backbone. He has no bones. He's looking for the ability to set limits. So we have the Tin Man. He's looking for a heart, which is really the search for compassion, for empathy, for being able to be sensitive to his environment. Right? The Cowardly Lion is looking for courage. And one of the things that we understand, and that's one of my great gifts, is to be a cowardly lion. To have fear. I've experienced tremendous fear. But I learned to transcend it. I've learned to not worship it. I learned to find a different relationship to it. Fear is not a situation that we need to banish. We need to understand that courage is the ability to act in the face of fear. And that's what the Cowardly Lion is looking for. They go through these journeys. And by the way, coming from this gray, Kansas experience, and she's hit by the tornado. The tornado is not just the swirl and the chaos of the wind. It's the chaos of everything that's happening. The chaos of not being able to deal with our emotions. All these journeys on the way to the Emerald City. So she comes in this Technicolor reality, but it's not easy. She's still dealing with tremendous challenge, and that's part of the hero's journey. One of the things that I recall is being a young boy and understanding for the first time that I was a dork. I went to the science fiction book club. And at the science fiction book club, I looked all around, and all the dorks in my community were there. And I was like, wow, it's weird that so many dorks are here. And I thought, oh my God, what if I'm a dork? And that's when I began to accept that I don't have to be the same as everybody else. That I can be this adult dork who still has the passion for things that other people don't get into. So they're on this journey, and one of the things that I learned at that time is that fantasy always has a formula, or most times has a formula. The hero doesn't understand how powerful they are. They are the lowest of the low, and they're faced with this great evil one at a distance. They have the motley crew that goes on the journey, and they find the wise man or the wise woman, usually some sort of magician who begins to impart wisdom on them. And so that's the hero's journey, and that's what happens to Dorothy. It doesn't mean that everything is easy, but she's living in a technicolor reality. She's able to see nuances that she couldn't see when she was trapped in Kansas, trapped in that gray existence of depression and resentment. So as she's going through all these journeys, the poppy field, their apples are being thrown at them at one point, in which they are able to take the disadvantage and find the nutrition of it. They go through all these elements, and eventually they get to the Emerald City. The man who is eventually going to be the wizard is playing different roles. He's the only one who does that, as far as I know. He has the people who have come from Kansas and been transformed. All those people, the original people, are now the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Wicked Witch. She's given the mission to go and attack the Wicked Witch and bring back her broom. And she pours the water on the Wicked Witch, purifying her and shrinking her resentment, her rage, until it's down to nothing. But when they get to the wizard cheats them. He doesn't come through with what he's promised. He doesn't let her go home or give her the means of going home. She's informed that she has to find it within herself, that she has it within herself. Glinda tells her, you have all you need within yourself. She clicks her heels 3 times and she's brought back home. And yet she's different. It's still gray, but she's different. This is our own hero's journey. This is your hero's journey, and this is my own. The ability to not be so committed and transfixed by what's happening that you don't see the colors, you don't see the beauty, you don't see the kindness that human beings have for each other. Only focus in anger, only focus in resentment. The yellow brick road, the road that we're meant to go on, we can't get off of it. We have to stay on the yellow brick road. This is our path. Another one of the great myths is the myth of the trickster. The trickster from the Southwest, there are elements of the trickster all over the world. That's what Loki is from Norse mythology. He's the trickster. The trickster is not necessarily good or bad, but he's trying to distract you, to get you off of your path. There's always going to be something that you're reasonable to get off the path for. But don't lose sight of the importance of staying on point, because if you fulfill yourself, you're going to be able to do more good than getting into all these intense angry moments here and there. So I'm sorry to be so verbose today, but I think the power of myth is incredibly important, and incredibly important for each of us. Many will say that these non-linear stories don't have any real import in the day-to-day life, but I would like to suggest to you that that's not true. The power of myth is the power of the dream world. And when you master your dreams, you can master your reality. And our practice is the practice of the process of understanding self-mastery. So just wanted to share with you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe this is too long, and it probably is too long, but I just wanted to share this with you because you are on the hero's journey. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Here we go. I thank you for your time. 2 weeks from now, I'll be starting another 40-day practice. I'm finishing up the initiative, 3 6-week focus periods. 2 weeks from now, I'll be starting my last focus 6-week period, and I'll be combining it with the 40-day practice. I'll blog post every day and a video every day for 40 days. Come join me. I'm going to bring my hands to prayer position, and I bow to you, because you are the hero that we all need. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day today.